Janu comes in as probably one of the highest acclaimed divas from the Korean region. And they're very important right now. That, like, it's very clear to see when your diva player is excelling and when they are underachieving. Keep an eye out for that on this particular map. Hopefully we see, a little bit of that play weaved in with, Winston and Reinhardt.
And a diva is such a difficult hero to play in that, like, there's so many responsibilities. You have to use defense matrix for your main tank. You may have to go back and use it for a support. You have to be in a million places at once. It may not be like the most mechanically demanding hero, but in terms of just like having the mental space to deal with everything going on, it's extremely important and very hard.
And you left about 99 jobs of diva off that list, by the way.
I know.
Just for the purposes of time, because the Spitfire already look like they want a fancy a little bit of argy-bargy here on the high ground. So notice here that both teams are playing with Winston as their centerpiece mates.
And the Spark come out with Winston on defense because if they come out with Reinhardt, really a mobile tank, Godspeed gets low. He gets healed up though here, so he should be able to sustain for a little bit. If you have Reinhardt on defense, London could have went back to the spawn, played a really DPS heavy composition here, a lot of damage dealers, and just poked at them from a distance and been able to take this point.
You see Gesture there had to jump out and jump away. That was a
nice
fantastic move by Rhea. Gesture has to wait for his jump to be off cooldown before he can get onto the high ground. And in the meantime, the Spark can decide, do they try and focus Gesture, or do they just pressure the rest of the Spitfire and slow them down?
But they don't really make any decision because they let Gesture just sit down in the low ground in main and live, and then they don't push all the way through. They had an opportunity there to take advantage of some bad positioning.
Maybe a little bit uncertain. See if they're punished for that. That's a rally from guard. And now the Spitfire really want to fight. That's a great way of identifying intent to engage. God's very low, had to use his own barrier on himself, and Fury wanted to chase that one up. He opts just to stay with the rest of his team for now, and the Spitfire are taking it slow and steady, and it's working. That Graviton. Ooh, Guard and Midosin, the only ones caught there. Nuss sits on the outside, they have no follow-up damage. Prophet goes down though, regardless.
Oh, that's a tough loss there.
It seems like the Spitfire had a good start to that fight, Matt, in terms of Hangzhou being forced to have Bebe Transcendence there.
Yeah, and I mean, they needed to use Transcendence, you need to use Primal Rage because Godspeed gets really low, and you want to keep that Zarya alive. They needed to do something. London uses the Rally to create space, right? They use Rally, they push into the high ground, they force the Spark down to the low ground. And then when Godspeed gets low, you need to invest some ultimates to keep up your Zarya. We talk about how important Zarya is over and over again. Now it's given London a little bit of an advantage here, Mitch. You have the Primal Rage to use here for Gesture to come in. That's going to force Sound Barrier out. Now you can get a free grab self-destruct combo.
Gesture had to use the Primal Rage, but he was forced to go for that. Fury may have saved the Spitfire in this fight with a double with the self-destruct. Now the rest of the Spitfire, buoyed by that double kill, moving forward with their 4 players. It's 2 tanks and 2 supports, essentially. Godspeed looks reasonably charged up, so Spitfire have to respect that. And obviously, Fury can't do anything to mitigate Zarya's left-click damage, so Godspeed is very dangerous to them right now.
No, and the only real damage-dealing hero that London has is Zenyatta up on the high ground. If you play in the low ground, you can't put the Zen in a position to die with Godspeed so charged up. So Spark able to, just hold on in this fight. It'll be the rally used by London again as they get onto the point. They want to fight this.
No Smite bites off more than he can chew, and Bidosin gives him a mouthful of orbs. He'll be sat on the point now, and he'll have the freedom to Transcendence if the Spark move up. But they're pretty much split right now. They're pushed out on the right side. You can see Rhea and IDK, and on the low ground is the rest of the Hangzhou Spark. Bidosin comes in. It was a Transcendence that necessitated the use of the Transcendence here, and it's going to be a response from Bebe. Both teams use those cheese and Zenyatta ultimates, and that's a rally coming out from the Spark. Sound Barrier from the Spitfire. A lot of ultimates being used, a lot of bluff and blunder, but just that one kill onto Bebe early, and it's traded out. Both Zenyatas are missing. Prophet now needs to try and make something happen with this Graviton, and he gets the job done. Adora and Godspeed fall to that one. IDK, the last one standing for the Spark. I know there's still presence here.
The Spark may invest into this. No Smite here using Primal Rage. You do have IDK coming back with the Sound Barrier. Okay, so if he would have been able to survive a little bit longer, maybe you think about investing Barrier in. You do have a little bit of a spawn advantage, spawning pretty close there on the defense. You may have been able to make something out of that, but as soon as No Smite dies, that's it. You move away with the Sound Barrier, you save it for another day.
That one threw me for a loop. No Smite there actually choosing to commit to the fight with Primal Rage instead of just permanently absconding and leaving the point there. So he was switching, so it's reasonable. You waste a little bit of time on the attacking team. You can just stall a couple seconds and a lost point. Fair enough. Prophet here pressuring No Smite's buff barrier, which is quite low. This forces No Smite to play aggressively. He can't sit back and defend or he'll be overrun. there's a rally there for the London Spitfire, and they might just choose to go for a less ultimate intensive fight.
Yeah, and the Spark have to use their Zarya bubble there early because no Smite shield is just getting broken there by Prophet. He's just using the primary fire as Zarya, just left-clicking into that. It'll be a Graviton Surge from the Spark, and nothing but the self-destruct though.
This fight represents a huge investment from the Spark, but after all those fancy ultimates have come out, they weren't able to find the kills. It was actually after the fact when Godspeed's able to pick up two. Late in the fight, a charged up Zarya is a force to be reckoned with. And they eventually keep the Spitfire at bay. You can see those low percentage numbers next to Hangzhou Sparks. Heroes means they spent a lot.
Maybe they needed to, right? They needed to stop London there, get the payload moving backwards. So you trade out this next fight. Let's say if you're the Spark, right? You can extend this. These fights go quite long in this meta. You're coming back with some ultimates to try and hold them before point B with, maybe like 25, 30 seconds on the clock. You feel pretty good about it.
Both teams sporting Reinhardt's now.
Shatter for gesture.
Taking a lot of damage. You see, he dropped his shield for a moment. The Fire Strike, he got chunked for about 40% of his overall health. So again, thinking twice, always going to flank around, but I think this one's been pretty telegraphed, and it was. Hangzhou Spark pretty much unperturbed by that Earthshatter attempt from Jester, and now the Spitfire are going to pay for their impudence. Godspeed, chances you like. The Spitfire bundled out into their spawn.
That is best case scenario there for the Spark. You're going to get close to your Graviton Surge. 30 seconds on the clock, a lot like the position I was talking about they could find themselves in. You have a grab. The fight probably goes long enough where you end up with Transcendence, and you're going to have a self-destruct in Earthshatter here. The Spark in a good spot to hold.
Hangzhou played so conservatively on defense on A. They didn't chase up these low-health enemies. And in doing so, sort of didn't put themselves in harm's way, didn't take any risks, and now London have 7 seconds to finish the map. There's not much time, it's one more fight. Sound Barrier and Transcendence will have to lead the way. And it has to start about now. Godspeed from the high ground has a Graviton Surge here. He's definitely, the low ground should I say, definitely hoping to circumvent any sort of defense matrix. It's Prophet on the high ground with his own Graviton. Here we go. He gets eaten up though. Rhea has that one happily, and that's a bad sign for the Spitfire that needed that one to push this fight. That's going to be Sound Barrier for London, but the self-destruct in the backside finds Nuss. Yes, he got his ultimate off, but he goes down as a response, so they pushed up the payload. Hangzhou Spark, that is an admirable defensive effort from a team that generally favors holding W and going aggressive. Throwing the Spitfire as well for a loop, and they'll be a little bit frustrated at such little progress on the attacking side. This sets up the Spark for a quick attacking push. We'll see if that'll be the case in just a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gents. That right there is the goal for the Hangzhou Spark now. Turns out a good defense means the offense gets a bit easier. Let's see the final moments here, man.
Yeah, the grab put into the wall by Godspeed that wraps a few players up. The self-destruct goes up in the sky, and when it kills Nuss, they don't want to really push through this door. They use the shatter, then they're trying to push through after. But a lot of times, Lucio has such fantastic movement. Really, he's a tough target to hit, man. And you're able to just kind of get up on the cart and dance a little bit.
And of course, coming up later on today, New York Excelsior versus the Houston Outlaws, a team in Houston who's just recently taken a win off of the Hangzhou Spark. So they're starting to look a bit better. Hang around for that one. It's going to be a day. We'll see the Spark, again, come out with a Winston. Spitfire choose to defend with a Winston as well, which is fairly standard on this point, Mac. Gives a bit of flexibility.
It's safe. I mean, that's the safest way you can come out here on defense. Like I mentioned, if they come out with a Reinhardt-based composition, not a lot of mobility with Reinhardt, you'd see a lot of damage dealers who can access the high ground come out for the Spark.
Keep an eye on those health bars early on in these fights here, because if the Spark take sort of too much poke damage, they will have to back away or London may chase them.
So the Spark want to up to go in with a Reinhardt comp. So no Smite goes max, which is off of Winston, goes to Reinhardt. So They want to use Reinhardt. You know, he's got a great survivability. You're able to push up with a shield. No Smite does get low, so you're going to have to back out here. And they want to just kind of barrel through London. They want to use that speed boost of Lucio, you know, IDK on the hero, and push right on through, and just use the Reinhardt hammer to charge up, then use Reinhardt himself to build up Godspeed's energy on Zarya.
Hangzhou now take a bunch of damage, but they heal it up, so the supports are getting ultimate charge from that little exchange. Gesture Primal Rage gets stunned up immediately, but not burst down as quickly as the Spark would have liked. With no Spike going by the wayside, the Spark have very minimal shielding now from the barrage they're receiving on the high ground from the Spitfire. IDK dropping means Godspeed and Rhea need to sheepishly back up.
And you can see it there from Gesture's POV. When he jumps up to the high ground, he does damage with the Winston jump hack, but then the Tesla cannon, it just kind of cleaves all these different targets. It can attack multiple players at once, and it's just, it's not a ton of damage, but it's just annoying damage, right? It's just, you're chunking multiple players down. And when you don't have like a main healer on either of these teams, you're just running 3 kind of flex supports. It's very difficult to heal that all up.
First pick again for the Spitfire. This is how they want to start up the fight. Rally was already committed to the fight by the Spark, so it's likely that they try and get something for this. Maybe, you know, 1/3 capture progress, get a tick on the point. But Bedosian's in such a safe spot right now. We see the Transcendence go on the low ground, but Garda's just used Rally. So the Spitfire have enough healing to stay competitive in this fight. And even more than that, completely wash over the Spark in the end. And they didn't have to use any support ultimates except for that Rally, which is arguably the least impactful of the 3 between Lucio, Zenyatta, and Brigitte.
Yeah, when Bebe uses his Transcendence, Prophet on the other side is like, thanks. He just waits it out and then just drops down the Graviton Surge. They have no support ultimate because IDK died earlier in the fight. You don't have the sound barrier yet. It's just free kills there for London.
This is very efficient defending from the Spitfire. Again, in the same way as the Spark did, they're seeing low health targets on the enemy side, but they're not trying to follow them up. They're not putting them at risk to secure kills. Here's a Primal Rage, but this time the Spark are ready for a Jester. Gets caged up. Transcendence was committed to the fight, and now the London Spitfire lose sort of 2 ults for minimal value. Over the top goes the self-destruct, and Rhea, as he always tends to do, finds that Nuss kill. In much the same way as Spark's offense, and this is the opening the Hangzhou were looking for. They get a time extension, and now the Spitfire go from looking very solid to very scared.
Yeah, and a lot of times we see the self-destruct set up by whether it's a grab or like an Earth Shatter. That time it's just Rhea throwing it to the back corner.
Just press Q, bro.
Yep, it splits off the London Spitfire. He's able to connect with Nuss, and then once that Lucio dies, that's your support ult that you have online for London. It all falls apart. And now the Spark have a good amount of time to get to that box. If they make it to the box of victory, they'll take the map.
This means that the Spitfire may only have one fight, one good fight. If they lose it, their margin will be exhausted.
It all depends on the shield war, right? If Gesture's kind of losing the shield war here, he's going to have to keep backing up. Then it puts us in 1-fight territory, which at this position right now, we are looking at one fight here for the Spark.
The Spitfire are a lot longer away from their spawn than the Spark are. That's the Earth Shatter. Prophet was knocked down, but a quick sound barrier to keep the Spitfire nice and vital, pushing into the fight. Interesting, Bebe goes for the Transcendence, but Hangzhou were already kind of disengaging, so perhaps plans changed halfway through that fight. But if you're the Spitfire, you wipe your brow, the sweat off. You only had to use a sound barrier to stay competitive despite getting shattered.
I mean, they use Shatter, Transcendence, and Rally there, and they get
3-for-1 trade.
0 for it. Just sound barrier invested from London. So this will be the Graviton Surge. No Smite stuck up inside of it. It's a little bit above the charge there. Is Gesture now trying to back up. Gesture's quite low. See Godspeed, how aggressive you can be with Zarya.
The shield is kind of busted here, and the Sparks see that. But London can't just use their Reinhardt and shield every projectile.
It has to be a good grab.
Godspeed is going to wait till he's probably a little bit closer before he uses Graviton Surge here. Like you said, has to be
dump it into the truck here if he wants.
Look at he's charged up though. He'd love a long fight here. Self-destruct, this will force the Spark back. They couldn't afford to lose anyone there, and they were disciplined with their positioning. Still 6 players.
It buys London time. It buys London space. It allows Gesture to get his shield back, so that's why you see the self-destruct. It forces him to back up. So now the Spark trying to engage again, as we're already down to 1 minute and 20 seconds here.
But Ocean needs to stay safe and sit back. If he gets caught in this Graviton, he'll want to get caught in it when he can transcend speed. He doesn't want to get picked off early into the fight. Here's a sound barrier to Spark. Yes, they want to get aggressive. Graviton Surge doesn't hit anyone in particular. That was supposed to be the key. Bebe now gets caught up in the grab from the Spitfire, and theirs looks much better. 1 minute remains for the Spark. They have botched a couple fights in a row now. and are starting to look like they may let this one slip.
Oh, and that was their real key to victory there, Mitch. That Graviton surge that Godspeed had, you needed to land a good one. You land a good one, you get some swings, maybe a pin through from no smite, a big self-destruct. And that's map number 2 in favor of the Spark. Now you got none of it.
It wasn't even negated by Fury by way of the defense matrix. It just didn't connect.
It may have just clipped the payload and it stopped its progress and he thought it was going to go around. It's a tough one to lose.
I mean, the Spark have to go all in now. Win for a penny, in for the pound, as they say. To push up, running from both sides now. Earth Shatter. Oh no, that didn't really work out. Nass was knocked down and he does have a sound barrier. They got rid of him in time. That's going to hurt the Spitfire. They definitely wanted that Lucio ultimate. But another Graviton comes up. A quick charge for Profit on that ability. And just swings for the fence. Gets two and the fire strike. And that'll be all she wrote. The London Spitfire. Insurmountable defense. Answers back to the Hangzhou Spark, and that's 2 maps to 0. Finally. Looks like they're hitting cruising altitude now, Matt. London looks sharp.
Yeah, the difference is Profit with his Graviton Surge uses there. They get 16 kills off of a Graviton Surge. You know, all the Graviton Surges there on Nabani. Godspeed only comes up with 6 kills with all of his ultimates.
That's your half-time here at the Overwatch League, and the Spitfire looking far better than they had at the start of this season. The opposite could be said of their opponents, but we'll see how it all transpires when we return from our half-time break. Catch you